Y'all might be wondering, Chase, is this hair from the 4DX experience? And that's an astounding no. I have a horrible cowlick, and some days it just doesn't want to cooperate with me like Kraven the Hunter. Does this movie cooperate with me? Because everyone, including their mother, that has a YouTube channel, is kind of shitting on this film. Is it worth the shit? Let's find out. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing Kraven the Hunter. So what's this about? I'm going to say what's on Rotten Tomatoes, so I don't, because I have an issue with the Rotten Tomato one. Kraven the Hunter is an action-packed, R-rated standalone story of how one of Marvel's most iconic villains came to be. Okay, that's fine. Issues, the R-rated and the action-packed, but we will discuss that a little bit later, and let's talk about the 4DX experience. When there was action, the 4DX was pretty good. The helicopter chase, the car chases, and things like that. When the lions are attacking, absolutely. Good water effects here and there. Good movement of the chairs. Good. So when it was, and that's the problem, the big when. Because there's a lot of time after, getting to know Aaron Taylor Johnson's character after the Russian prison. His backstory. Then him meeting the lawyer. Then him meeting his brother. Him meeting his father, Russell Crowe. And characters like that, it just kept going. Oh, and then the guy that goes like 1, 2, 3. And then he could cool disappear. And then the rhino guy. A lot of talking. So there's a lot of stationary seats in this movie. It's not a lot of movement. So overall, I would say 4DX is probably not worth it. However, I don't know if you're going to find it a lot, because I remember going into this movie and trying to get multiple 4DX. I was going to see Lord of the Rings and Morbius, Kraven the Hunter. I was going to see them both. But then 2 days before, the Lord of the Rings ones got taken away. And then Kraven the Hunter only went to one time because Moana went to most of them. I guess they just realized, no one's going to watch this movie in 4DX. So they did one time at night. And I understand why, honestly. All right, the movie itself. Is it as bad as Morbius? Is it as bad as Madam Web? To me, I'm not going to put the Venoms because it's kind of its own trilogy. And that did really Booker's good dollars. He goes Kraven, Morbius, Madam Web. Even though Madam Web, Cindy Swede, ooh, girl, just because of you, I might want to bump you up. But as a movie experience, I had the most fun, if you want to put it that way, with Kraven the Hunter, and I saw what was going on. With Morbius, I didn't know what was going on in the action set pieces. Madam Web, the CGI and story was just horrendous. Kraven, like I said, the story was very surface level and cookie cutter, and I wasn't really the biggest fan of it. But like I said, let's talk about the positives. We get the positives out of the way. When the action was there, it was there. I kept hearing that the editing was shit. I don't know if the editing was shit. I just think there was not enough action to keep the action going. Because every time the Kraven or Kraven the Hunter did something, it was done next. And there were some sweet scenes with a knife, cutting a person in half. But you've seen all this in the Red Band trailer. If you've seen the Red Band trailer, you've seen every single action set piece in the movie. You've seen every gore effect that was already in the film. And I think that's what really bummed me out, because when I was hearing it's going to be R-rated, I'm like, oh, we're going to have badass gore, a lot of language. No, there's maybe 3 F words and some gore here and there. Of course, the gore does make it R, but it's nothing oh shit gore. It's more of oh, gore. I want to when the trap went on the guy's head, I wanted his head to cut right here and just be half of his head gone. But you don't get that. So when the action was there, I thought it wasn't that bad. I thought some of the acting was not bad. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson. I always say his name wrong. Is it Aaron John? Yeah, I think I said it right. Right. Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson. I thought him and Russell Crowe were probably the only two really trying to be serious in this film, because you have his brother Fred. I've seen him in other movies. Hechinger. He was in what movie did I just watch recently with him in it though? Oh, he was in Fear Street, Thelma. In Gladiator 2. He was in Gladiator 2. That's the one. He was just in Gladiator 2. And also the guy playing Rhino. I just felt like they were in different films. He was playing that Gladiator 2 part in Kraven, and the guy with the Rhino, he was what did Matt Smith do in Morbius? And I'm going to do weird things like that, because there's one scene where he's just you're just like, what the actual F is going on here? And then the battle sequence with him is kind of anticlimactic because it could have been something pretty badass. And it kind of doesn't. Okay. So I didn't listen to a single review on YouTube of why they dogged this movie. I can understand why, but it's nothing where I'm like angry about, because maybe I'm just not a comic book person that, yes, I was angry that sometimes it's just talking and talking and talking. And I understand you want to do some backstory, but the backstory is so surface level, like Russell Crowe's wife committed suicide because she's weak. He didn't want to raise weak kids. Okay, his brother kind of is chameleon, which doesn't really explain how he could do this perfect voice acting. Sure, some people in the world could do that, but then they keep mentioning this doctor in New York. I'm guessing it's the doctor that did the Lizard. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not really into the lore. I'm guessing it's the Lizard Man. So there's that. They do Daily Bugle, so there is connections to the Spider-Man universe that they do. How the Kraven got his powers, I think that's kind of weak as well, because I understand the whole line. That to me, that's cool. But the little vial of Calypso and her family's secret, we don't get any explanation of what her family does and what this family secret actually is. And I think that's another like fault. And that's the other fault, is they don't explain a lot. Yes, you explain it, the Kraven drank it, got some lion's blood, boom. That's how he kind of has the lion-esque smell and the lion eyes. So that gets that. Not lion eyes, lion eyes. So you get that. Understand that. Rhino, sure, I understand some parts of it, but I don't understand why he would go to the father for some help when the father would literally are going to business with his father. When I don't think his father has like no inclinations of being in the medical career field or being in the morphing career field. So that doesn't make sense why he would even set out to reach to this Russian, aka Russell Crowe's character. So to me, that doesn't make sense. Like I said, Calypso, you don't really understand her backstory either. She just got this vial, gave it to Kraven as a boy, and now she's a lawyer, and just perfect. It is perfect, basically, of things that occurred there. Also, his brother, like I said, they really don't explain the chameleon part. They kind of wanted to go to a second story, but I don't know anything about that, if it is in the comics or not, with, him being a chameleon. Don't understand that. It is what it is. All right, like I said, Rhino, don't understand. The guy that could do the 1, 2, 3, what's his name? The Foreigner, Christopher Abbott's character. Again, I just don't know how he got his power. How can he literally just take his glasses, go 1, 2, 3, and then he's behind people, and hypnotize people? I'm just curious about how that occurs. I understand we were kind of in the, Spider-Man universe where some people have powers, but I kind of want to know how they got their powers or where they actually came from. Again, maybe it's in the comic books and I just didn't get the memo of who these characters are. And I think this overall is a disappointment. The trailers are damn good in my opinion, with Johnny Cash songs in the background. But overall, Kraven the Hunter, it is a disappointment. 4DX not worth it. The movie itself, it is a disappointment. Let's put it that way. The action set pieces, if you've seen the R-rated trailer, you've seen all the action set pieces. I wish there was a little bit more oomph to the script, a little bit more explaining of characters, a little bit more action set pieces, a little bit better CGI. Oh yeah, that was the other thing too, is when you do this movie and you are in this open field, right? There are scenes where you are in an open field and this ain't CGI. You are actually walking, act like you're hunting, which, that'd be cool to pet a lion. Anyway, why do that? But then your next screen is with Aaron Taylor Johnson on a green screen in that field. Is it that hard to do a close-up with him in that field? Because it looks like you're already there. So just do the close-up there. Oh yeah, and also when the wind is blowing, have at least some effects with the cards. The cards would blow away. The tarot cards in the very beginning when they're explaining. And that's the other scene where the tarot cards happen with the grandmother's acting. And the exposition of we're explaining everything. I was like, oh, this is very, very obvious. But yeah, overall, disappointment. But am I angry? And no, I'm not. I'm not angry. So Kraven the Hunter will receive a 2 out of 5 with Futon. So it goes at 40%. So see the critics and user scores gave this one. Critics a 15%. I knew that was 99. Audience score is 71% with over 250. Critic consensus. Claiming no trophies with its rote story and shoddy special effects, Kraven the Hunter turns out to be a paper tiger. I'm curious. So Kraven's at 15-71. Morbius came out like 2 years ago. Holy crap. 1571. The exact same. Morbius and Kraven are the exact same. It was Madam Web that was this year. Madam Web is 1155. So critics and audience score do agree Madam Web is the worst out of them. And then it goes swap Morbius and Kraven. And then the Venoms are actually just better overall for both audience and user scores. Anyway, 1571.40. Chase Scott here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One more thanks, Bhutontopia. You Blue Futonians. Thank you for watching for a great day. Watch this tape tomorrow, week, for a month, or a year, for every single freaking one of you. Morbius came out 2 years ago. God, that scares me how fast time goes. I don't like it at all.